good Sunday morning to you. This is my Facebook Live challenge. This is day 26. It's Sunday, so I had a cool creek picked out, but we had a lot of storms and rain last night. So I figured I would do this, rather than get all muddy and track all the gear back out into the woods, I would start off this video in front of the garden, my wife's garden. So it kind of ties into the theme for today. So with it being Sunday, I wanted to make this Facebook Live challenge about the act of giving and why I think that charity and the act of giving is so important. If you're a Christian like I am, you already know kind of the idea behind the tithe of giving 10% of what you earn towards charity or towards the church or whatnot. I think that this is a really key and important principle in our own personal development. Most people assume that the act of charity or the act of giving is for the other person, for what they're getting out of it, how you can serve them. But it's really not the case. And once you engage in this activity, I think you'll learn that the act of service really is for yourself and what you get out of it and what it does to you personally. So on that note, the book that I want to promote for today is a guy that I'm a really big fan of, and he's really the only guy in this space that really kind of aligns with my values and a lot of my principles. And it's weird because he's like this Yankee dude from Jersey. He's a big Jets fan. Is Gary Vee. I'm sure a lot of you guys have probably heard of him. His book is called The Thank You Economy, and he's a little rough around the edges. I've probably talked about him before. You guys have heard me talk about some of the other things that he does, but he's not out there really trying to sell anything. A lot of people that are promoting these principles and promoting a lot of things I talk about all have an agenda to try to ultimately sell you something, and he's not, and he doesn't. And I think that it's really neat that he comes from a place of giving. Now, he does talk about the hustle and about how to make money and how to be successful, but it's not from a perspective of trying to get you to sign up for something or trying to get you to enroll into one of his classes or anything like that. It's all about just giving you good value, and I really admire him for that. And so that's what I'm trying to do. Like, I've had some people say, like, well, okay, what's your angle? Or some people trying to understand my ultimate goal, like what it is that I'm trying to get out of all that I'm doing. And it's not to try to sell anything. It's just trying to provide service and to provide content. So giving. And the reason why I wanted to talk about or do it in front of the garden is because one of the coolest things about having this garden is the bounty that comes from it when it's all said and done. And with that bounty, it's plentiful, and it's more than we can consume, and it's more than we can use ourselves. So one of the great things that I get to do is give that bounty away to my friends, my neighbors, people that I come into contact with. And it's a really great way to have a conversation, a great way to engage with somebody when you're giving them something. So I would encourage you to consider, I know 10% is a big stretch for a lot of people who, especially if you're not coming from that kind of a background. The challenge is always to go for the 10% because I think that that's really transformative in your thinking and in your disposition. But if you're not used to doing that, then I would just encourage you to give something in some form or fashion. And it doesn't have to be to a church or even a charitable organization. Although some great charities are out there, like my buddy Jason and Megan at Hope Through Soap. Hey, if you want to give to somebody to see a direct impact, check them out. They're on all the social media platforms, and they would welcome your donations because that money goes to a great cause and providing for the homeless folks in downtown Atlanta, specifically here. But above and beyond that, like if you don't want to give to an organization, and I recommend not giving to an organization like, say, Goodwill or some of these bigger, larger organizations, United Way. They're great organizations, but they also have a tremendous amount of overhead, and less of your dollar actually goes to the cause when you're giving to those bigger organizations. What I recommend is give to someone personally. You know, buy somebody's groceries. that's in the line in front of you, something where you have a direct personal contact with that person and a direct personal interaction. That by far has the most impact, again, on you and on yourself. And above and beyond that, if you don't want to give of your money, or if you're not comfortable with that, the next best thing is to give of your time. One of the things I love about the church that I belong to, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, is we have almost an expectation of giving to others, and to helping out and to doing things to give service. And so that's a great way to get started into this, just giving service to someone. And it doesn't have to be someone in your church. It can be your next door neighbor. It could be mowing your neighbor's lawn. There's 1,000 different ways that you can just give service to a total stranger. One of the best things you can do is to do something for somebody and have that kind of pay it forward mentality. If they ask you how that they can repay you or something like that, helping somebody on the side of the road that's got a flat tire, just encouraging them to then pay that forward to the next person. It's what I try to do with a lot of books and a lot of things, where it's like, if you will pay it forward to someone else and I'll pay it forward to you, sort of concept. If you want to find a way to serve, again, my buddies at Hope Through Soap, you can go onto their app and you can sign up to serve there. There's also a really great app. It's called justserve.org. If you can go to that app and you can sign up. You can look at all different types of ways that you can give service, volunteering of your time. So check them out as well. So that's my piece for today. The last thing I'll wrap up with is, you heard me talk about Dave Ramsey before. And when we talk about giving, a lot of times people reach out to us wanting things from us. And I encourage you to always try to give whenever possible, knowing that they may be kind of trying to feel like they're taking advantage of you, knowing that they are not going to pay it forward, knowing they're not going to return in kind. That's okay. Anytime that you can help someone, still be willing to give. Dave Ramsey gives the great example of loaning money to a friend or a family member. If someone comes to you wanting to borrow money from you, give, and you want to help them out, give that money. Give that money without the expectation of repayment. Give that money knowing that you're never going to see it again. That's you doing something kind to another individual. Creating that loan kind of a relationship completely changes the dynamic, and it will negatively affect that family or that friend, and your relationship with them. So I'll wrap up with that. Challenge for this week: give in some form or fashion. Ultimately, love to see you do the 10% tithe, but anything that you can do, comment below if you want to participate, or if you do something later on and you come back to the feed and comment on it there. I'd love to talk about it. So tomorrow we'll be back on track with some other things that I'm really excited to talk to you about as we wrap up this Facebook Live challenge, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks.